Hello everyone, Daniel Kerr here. Welcome to my very first Elektron Octatrack video. There's going to be a little bit of noise in the background. I got multiple geniuses. Anyway, when I first got this Octatrack, well, first off, I wanted the Octatrack for years. Many of you, if you follow my channel at all, you're familiar with my I don't need an Octatrack video where I use the ESX in a combination of looper, audio looper, and different instruments to try to mimic what the Octatrack can do. And now that I have an Octatrack, thanks to this guy Nick, who contacted me and offered me the Octatrack at a name my own price, and he actually sold it to me for $500. So yeah, I ended up with an Octatrack. And man, I'm really thankful to him. I really wanted to mess with it, but after I got it, I realized that the Octatrack is two things at once. One, it is everything that I hoped it would be, and two, it is a huge disappointment. All right. It's everything that I hoped it would be, because really what I wanted was to try to replace a DAW live for the last few years. After decades of using only hardware, I actually started using Ableton and an APC40 to play live, and I wanted to get back to hardware. So I wanted to replace Ableton Live in a box, and it kind of does that. And the way he described it is it's kind of Ableton Live with arcade controls. They really are kind of arcadey controls. Second thing is, okay, so you can, there's a massive amount of sampling time in here, and prior to this, actually, I was doing the same thing with the SP606, and I have never had great luck with the SP series samplers from Roland, but the SP606 was the exception. You could actually plug the USB into the computer and use it as a sound card. I have a video on that somewhere. Anyway, it's got a lot of sampling time as well, and it was very powerful. The D-beams actually really helped in a performance situation, surprisingly. I just kind of wrote them off as cheese, and then on top of that, it really did, the effects on it sounded fantastic. It was punchy, and I had a mastering compressor that I could run everything through, including my other hardware, so that was really nice. Well, the Octatrack replaced that, and it did a great job, and I love the loopers on here and the pickup machines, but I still can't figure out exactly how to get it quantized perfectly. I mean, it's quantized, but everything on here is a real chore to learn. So that's the beginning of the disappointment part. Everything on here, you have to dive through menus to find what it does, and it does so much stuff that the very comprehensive manual is difficult to wade through to find the right things. I read it cover to cover, but you know, when you're reading something, you don't have the machine right in front of you the whole time. You kind of lose what you're actually looking for, and then when you're playing, you want to go back into the manual and find what you're looking for, and it doesn't exactly lend itself easily for you to find it and reference it extremely easily. One of the fantastic things on here, okay, is the scenes, and you can basically use the slider to morph through different scenes, and you can do some amazing things with mangling up the tracks. The thing about it is that you only get two effects per channel per track, and then you have a master track if you want, which I always have mine set to master. I kind of wish that I could, for the purposes of replacing Ableton at least, I would like to get rid of most of the effects on most of the tracks and put them all onto the master track. I think that would be the most helpful in that situation. I can see where if you're using this as your main writing tool that you would be able to get a lot of use out of the two effects per channel. Plus you have what they call neighbor tracks, where you can use a track, you can get rid of one track and basically add two more effects and two more sets of parameters to the previous track. That is a good thing, but what I wish, actually, what would really help me is if I could set track 7 as another master track. That would be crucial. That would be fantastic. Another thing is within the same bank and the same parts, the scenes, you get 16 scenes. Okay. The thing about the 16 scenes is that you can't set different effects on each scene. It would be great if you could use the scenes to change effects per track, but you cannot do that. Another thing that you cannot do that makes it really irritating is within the same pattern, you're using the same bank and the same parts, okay, in the same pattern. Every pattern in the same bank using the same part has the same samples, so I can't like set 8 new completely different samples to part number 2 or to pattern number 2 than in pattern number 1 unless I change banks and unless I change parts. That is kind of weird because I just wish I had more I guess especially using the clips, or replacing the Ableton clips, I really wish that I had more freedom about how many samples I could use. Another thing that really I haven't wrapped my head quite around is the save function. I would like to turn off that auto save feature where when you mess with a pattern, it saves it automatically. Now I realize you can save your sets, you can save your projects, you can save your banks, but I haven't been able to reload them on the fly very easily, right? What I would like is to save a pattern and it's saved, and then I mangle the holy crap out of it, and then I reload that pattern or go to the next pattern and it drops back to the normal unedited state, and then that's how it is. Every other sequencer I've ever used kind of runs on that, and in this way, this is really weird. There's a lot of strange things that go along with it. I will be able to develop this machine as I go more and more, the more I dive into it, right? Okay, first off, is I've had some of you are familiar, you go to my Facebook page, the facebook.com/SnowMetal or facebook.com/DanielClear actually, and you'll go into my photos and you'll see there's a file in there, a folder called a hardware progression gear over the years, and you'll see about maybe 20%, 10 to 20% of the gear that I've owned. I've owned over 1,000 pieces of hardware gear since the 80s. Because of that, I'm used to a cryptic, a super menu diving, like a really deep, not easy to navigate GUI for hardware, and because of that, I can pick up anything, chord chronos, like any of the, I'm just thinking about things that I picked up and was able to, without a manual, and especially with the manual, figure out in just a couple of hours. Pretty much everything about the machine, I can figure it out. The Octatrack has been the antithesis of this experience. I've had it for 4 months now, and the more and more, I'm just barely starting to get it to a usable state. Online, I've been looking for like these videos of performances and users who I know are really good with the machine, and I found a lot of them. Terakith has some fantastic videos. That dude Cuckoo has a bunch of fantastic videos. That whatever his name, Datalog, is that his name? Datalink. Anyway, there's some really good videos out there, but to this day, I haven't seen somebody truly turn this machine out, right? Like absolutely turn it out. Oh, another thing I can't stand. Let's cover this real quick. The MIDI sequencer. Paraphony is terrible. I don't want a chord sequencer. I want polyphony. Right. I know that's a huge thing on the Octatrack or on the Elektron forums. Another thing is when you have this set, you hold down function, you go up and down arrow keys, you can set it to a chromatic, and you get basically a little keyboard, right? You only get 2 octaves, right? And those octaves sound terrible with the built-in, or if you're using synths, for instance, those octaves sound terrible when you're using the built-in time stretch, which it does automatically. What I think would be best is if I had a full 8 octaves. Also, if you automatically turn that time stretching off, it sounds a little better. You get more natural keyboard sounding. But that's another thing. I wish I had more octaves. I I guess that being said, this is going to be an ongoing conversation. Usually when I'm doing my ESX videos, it's me telling you some stuff that you've never heard of, right? There are people who are covering the things that I used to cover in the ESX now, but when I first started presenting certain things using the stutters and things like that, nobody had ever done anything like that with the ESX. I hope to eventually get to that point with the Octatrack. I know that it's capable of some amazing things that I've never heard anybody do with the unit before, right? That said, up until that point where I reached that level of videography, of tutorialography, this is going to be an ongoing conversation. I'm going to say, it sucks because I can't do this, and then somebody, you, are going to get a hold of me in the comments, because I want it to be nice and public, or just share with me privately, and I'll credit you in a video. But somebody will say, no, what you want to do is this. A good instance of that on the Ableton Octatrack forums, our group, is that I was really irritated because I couldn't mute tracks and leave their effects tails, so that, you know, if I had a long reverb tail or delay tail, for instance, if I muted the track, it just cut it right off. And everybody told me, well, that's just how it works. Well, that's a terrible thing. But then somebody was like, you know what, all you got to do is hold down whatever track it is and hit the stop button, and it mutes just that track and it leaves the effects tails. And it's true, it does. So that was really, really powerful when I learned that. So yes, keep these conversations going. That being said, I'm about to upload another video right after this one, and it is me doing a performance on probably the first available Elektron Octatrack set that I've ever actually put up, which was actually about a month ago, but I just want to demo it and show you how it works. Anyway, until then, be blessed. I always say the same thing, be blessed. That's really what I want. If you enjoy my videos, then subscribe. When I say be blessed, I just want you to know that I think that being blessed actually carries with it the responsibility of being a blessing. So yeah, everybody be a blessing.